What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here today with the review for Greenleaf. This is season 4. This is episode 7, and it is titled Reunited. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into the video. Alright, you guys, so the episode is open. So, we see Grace. She's on the phone, and she's talking to Sophia, and she's asking Sophia, have you heard from your brother? Have you talked to him? And Sophia's like, no, I haven't heard anything from him. But you know what? If I do hear something from him, I will call you and let you know what's going on. So then Sophia hangs up the phone, and we see that AJ is there, and she says, why don't you go back home? You're innocent. And he says that he can't. And we know why he can't, because he's not innocent. So then Sophia asks AJ, so why did you even come here in the first place? He's like, well, because you're the only family that, that's been there for him. So I'm going to come here and say thank you and, say bye to you for actually treating him like family. No, so once again, she's telling him, like, why don't you go home? Like, our mom was going to take care of everything. Like, she'll make things okay for you. And, she's again telling him he's innocent. I'm like, little do you know he's not innocent. And then, he's trying to tell her, like, just because he's black, that they going to try to put him back in jail. And, then he starts to act like a complete and colossal ass. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, but you put yourself in this position, my dude. Like, you went to the drugstore and you stole the drugs. So they're not trying to, you acting like they're trying to put something on you, but they're not trying to put anything on you. You did this to yourself. So you can't really blame the system for something that you did. So, I mean, yeah, you can't blame somebody for something that you did. Like, own up to your shit and move on. And then we also see Grace again. So Grace is talking to this guy about, I guess, like this some land that surrounds Calvary, and he's telling her that someone bought this. And she's like, well, who bought it? He said it's a place called City of the Hill. And then he says that so she asked him, like, so what do they want it for? He says, well, I don't really know what they want it for, but what I can tell you is they paid a good penny for it. And I'm like, okay, so City of the Hill. So this is obviously the shell company that Hope and Harmony is portraying themselves as, buying the land around the church. I'm like, so I wonder what they're trying to do. Like, I really wonder what their plan is with doing all this stuff. And Karissa, I would love to slap the hell out of Karissa for what she did. Like, that was so stupid. All right, so next we see Sophia. So Sophia is taking some money. I don't know where she got this money from, but she has some money, and she's gonna try to stash it in AJ's bag. Since AJ's too prideful at this point to take money from anybody. So like I said, she's gonna stick it in his bag. But when Sophia goes to put it in his bag, Sophia gets an amazing surprise when she sees the drugs. And then AJ walks in, and AJ asks her, like, why are you going to my bag? And she's like, why are these drugs in your bag? And then he gets defensive. I'm like, you're getting defensive, but you're not answering the question. Why are the drugs in your bag? Oh, that's right, because you stole them. Right. So, she's like, my mom lied for you. And then, God, my typing was so off. Yeah, but he said, she was like, my mom lied for you. And then, how, he's talking about how he lets people, did he say? Oh, yeah, how he lets people down. And then he tells her that, she doesn't know him, and that there is one thing. She's like, but, no matter what, I'm not going to change. It's not going to change how I feel about you. He says, well, there is one thing that might change it. I'm like, ooh. So what is this one thing that might change what she feels about you? I'm wondering. I kind of wonder if he's even Grace's real son. Like, I really do question this. Like, I wonder if maybe somehow Richard Rochelle I just don't know. Like, because you guys have to remember, Richard Rochelle did tell Grace that she knew what happened in Phoenix. So I wonder if she knows she has to know about this. And I just wonder how much of this is her doing, hers and Basie's doing. Questions that need to answer. These are questions that definitely need an answer. So then we see Grace. So Grace is talking to Fernando about the parking, around the church. And, she's asking him questions about what are they up to with the land. And, he's not really telling her anything. But he says, what, once everything is said and done, I'll be more than happy to tell you what's going on. And he says, we do care about you because we're deeply Christian, a deep Christian company. I'm like, yeah, y'all a deep Christian company that's up to something. Like, I just don't know what, Hope, Harmony, and Hope are up to. Hope and Harmony, whichever one it is. I just don't know what's going on. Like, it's interesting. Like, I really do wonder why they are buying up all the land that surrounds the church. Like, what can they be? What could they be planning? Now we did also see Aaron this episode. So Aaron, was telling Grace that the city on the hill is a shell company, like we said, but whatever company is behind them, they're doing a good job of covering. They're doing a real good job of masking. And then he does tell her that it is Harmony and Hope, Hope and Harmony. I get it confused, but and that's when she went to talk to him. So then we last see Sophia. So Sophia goes to Grace and tells Grace everything that when you called me, AJ was with me. I didn't tell you that. And then I also didn't tell you that so he did steal those drugs, so he's not innocent. He is 100% guilty. And Grace is looking up the look on Grace's face. I'm like, yep, Grace, you lied for someone that was playing the shit out of you. Like, he played you for a fiddle. He knew he was lying. He knew he did it. And he just needed that alibi, and you gave him an alibi, and now you are like, that could be obstruction of justice. So, ooh. You in a tough pickle, ain't you? All right, you guys. So let's talk about the devil in tight clothing. That is Charity. So we see Charity in the opening scene. She's in the bathroom. She's putting on her makeup while Marisol is over there giving her child a bath. I'm like, that is your child, not Marisol's. And she's giving this sermon in the mirror. I'm like, you need to be preaching to your damn self. Like, I hope you're preaching. But she kept saying Gigi, but you should be preaching that to yourself. You should be preaching to yourself about not turning your back on your family. I can't stand Charity. So then she leaves out of the bathroom, and Bishop and Jacob are there, and Bishop and Jacob, they talking to her, and the funny thing is, because she kept asking, like, what is up with these secret meetings? He was like, oh, you like secret meetings, don't you? And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yes, Jacob, read her. So then Grace comes in, and she starts talking about how she was on the phone with Phil for, I think, 20 minutes or something, talking about the parking. And her and Bishop, they start talking about old Phil. And then Charity stands up for him, and they're like, wait a minute, you standing up for Phil? Like, why? She's like, he's our brother in Christ. Okay. Right, Charity. Brother in Christ. So then Bishop is telling them, like, how he wants them all to sing a song because he's going to ask Lady May to marry him again. And they're like, okay, so that's fine. So when do we need to do this? He says, by tonight, because I'm asking her to marry asking her to marry me tonight. And she was overhearing the whole conversation. So then we see Jacob. He tells Charity that, he said that, he tells her about the night before when he was cleaning his office and he saw her with, Phil. And there are 4 options. One, he could be using her. She's like, well, I'm appalled. Like, I'm not that stupid. I'm not stupid, Jacob. He is using you. He says, okay. 2, you're in love with him. She didn't say anything. She says, what's 3? He says, okay. Well, no, she didn't say nothing. He says, 3, he forced himself on you. And if he did that, I'll beat his ass. She said, what is 4? He says, okay. And 4, you're spying on him to get information on him, to get him in trouble, to figure out why he's here. She's like, yeah, that's it. That's definitely it. I'm like, Jacob, you are so stupid. You almost had it. Like, it's like when you go fishing and you get a fish and you're trying to reel it in and it's almost there. You almost had it, Jacob. She is not trying to use psych, as Roxanne calls him, Forrest Rocks. She's not trying to use sidekick. She and Phil are working together, but then she says, it's number 2, Jacob. He says, what was number 2? She says, I'm in love with him. And then, they arguing back and forth with each other. And Grace comes in and she's like, why are y'all arguing? And, they're, Charity leaves and, he says, we're arguing over the song. She's like, okay, what song does she want to sing? He says, Reunited. She's like, okay, what's wrong with that? He can't say nothing because that ain't what they were arguing over. So then we see Charity. So Charity goes to Phil's office and she's asking him, so the file that I have of Grace admitting that she lied, have you sent that to Phil? He says, no, I haven't sent it to Phil yet. She says, okay, good. Don't send it to him, because Jacob saw us together. And if that recording mysteriously shows up, they're going to know that I'm the one who did it. He's like, okay. And she was like, but don't do it. He says, okay, look here. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to give you 24 hours to make up your mind. Do I send it or not send it? If I don't send it, we can both trash it together. He tells her that all he cares about with her is, her trusting, and her trust and love is all he cares about. I'm like, wow, Phil, way to put it on thick for her. Ha! Make her really believe you love her. So then Jacob, we see him and he wants to talk to Phil. And he tells Phil, Phil actually thinks that Jacob was trying to use his relationship with Charity to get his job back. And Jacob was like, nah, that's not what I'm trying to do. But what I am going to tell you is when it comes to my sister, I want you to treat her right, or else, again, like he said, he will beat his ass. Jacob ain't nobody worried about, well, you know what? They might be worried about him with that Dante situation. Okay, moving on. All right, so next let's move over to Karissa. So we see Karissa. She's in her room, and I don't know what she was doing, but she's got a text message on her phone. It's from Fernando. She was like, oh, Fernando, we got to stop this. And then, Marisol comes in, and she's taking pictures of the room and everything that's in there so that it don't come up stolen. So, so then, she gets another text from me, and she's all smiles. I'm like, oh, Karissa. Ooh. You really letting it all hang out, ain't you? So then we see Karissa. She's at Fernando's office. And, she's talking about the house. And, how she at one point, thought all things were going to be good. But, she's had issues with Jacob, with May. And he asked her, so, like, in the event that something happens to Lady May and Bishop, who would get the house? She's like, oh, I don't know. He says, well, you know what? Why don't you find that out? And then, they start to flirt with each other. And I'm like, y'all finna... Because he wants to take her to a hotel room. She's like, oh, no. I want you to tell me you want me right here, right now. I'm like, oh. We really bold with it, Karissa. Oh, shit. Like, you bold. So then we see Grace. So Grace runs into Karissa there. And, she's like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, we were just completing the selling process with, City or whatever the hell it's called. Of selling the land, basically. And then, she tries to get all high and mighty when Grace tells her, like, this is hope and harmony. And, she was like, did you know about it? She's like, mind your business. I'm like, who are you talking to? Karissa, who are you talking to? Literally, who the fuck are you talking to? But okay. I would have slapped the shit out of I'm sorry, I would have slapped Carissa's teeth out of her fucking mouth. Karissa would be having teeth on the ground. Picking them up. Talk like Karissa got a lot of mouth. A lot of mouth. That's why Lady May slapped you. Alright, you guys. So see Corinne. So Corinne calls Lady May to tell her that, they are, having a deacons meeting. And she's like, so what does Connie want to do? She says it's not Connie. She says it's Misty. Misty wants, with the woman's scholarship that May has, she wants the name to change because she wants the name to change and she wants May's name taken off of it. So, we see May, she's meeting with Misty. She's asking Misty why. Misty says that it was Connie because, they don't believe, when it comes down to the whole Max situation, they don't feel that Lady May, Lady May saying she didn't know, but they don't feel that. So that's why they want the name change. And then, Mac was also messing with Misty's daughter, Vita. So then, or not Misty, another person named Darlene. So then we see May. She meets with Darlene to talk to her and her daughter, Vita. And she apologizes to Vita for what Mac did. And Vita's like, at first Vita wasn't accepting of her apology. And then, May starts to tell her, she made the scholarship. She's telling her why she made that scholarship in the first place. And then Vita asks her, like, how could she not know? And then this is when we see Lady May break down. Lady May breaks down because, she said that it happened to her. Not from Mac, but from her dad, her dad molesting and raping her. And she's just breaking down crying. And I'm like, okay, why don't we take you to a meeting so that way you can, let it out in the atmosphere and let, be around a support system. She didn't want to do it because, like I said, Bishop was getting ready to propose to her, but they did talk her into going, and I'm happy that they talked her into going because that is something that Lady May definitely needs to get off her chest. Like, it happened to you, you know, it's one thing to leave it in the past, but you gotta be able to vocalize it to, it's just a lot of stuff that you gotta work through to get to a good spot in your life. So I'm glad that Vita and Darlene talked her into going with them. All right, so next we see Nikki. So Nikki, she's with Zora. She's going on and on about Dante, about how if she'll leave Dante if Dante doesn't make a statement about what happened with that fight that happened a few weeks ago. But Zora, it looked like Zora wasn't listening because Zora was in the Bible. And then Nick was like, "Are you listening to me?" She's like, "Yeah, I heard you." She said, "You're going to leave Dante if you don't make a statement." She says, "But what I was doing was I was looking through the Bible trying to find something that could help you." And Nikki flips out. She was like, it was all about, basically, it was all about Nikki. That's all I could gather from there, that Nikki was only worried about Nikki and not Zora or even the Bible for that matter. So, then we do see Zora. She's talking to Bishop about, she's trying to get her some advice in her relationships. And Bishop just tells her basically, wait. That's all it is. That's the key to it. Waiting. So then we do see Zora, not Zora, but Nikki. Nikki returns to Zora. She tells her that, she told Dante, like, basically she gave Dante an ultimatum. It's, you make a decision about, speaking out or I leave. She said he put her out because he don't really care about their money at this point. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what he gonna do, but if he don't care, he don't care. Let's leave it at that. All right, and then we see Jacob and Charity. So Jacob and Charity, they're preparing for the song that they're going to sing for Lady May and Bishop. And then Charity tells Jacob, I want you to meet Phil because I think you two have a lot in common, and I think you would really like him. I'm like, on what planet? So, Grace comes in and she tells them that, tells Jacob that he sold that land to H&A. She's like, what? I don't know nothing about that. She says, well, Karissa does because I saw Karissa earlier coming out of Fernando's office and she told me to mind my business. And then she says, you know what? Is that what you two want? Is that why you were so mad at him? And Cher's like, I'm not mad at him. She's like, earlier, you two when you were fighting. She's like, oh yeah, that's exactly why we were fighting. And then Jacob was like, no, that is not why we were fighting. And she was like, Jacob. And he says, no. He said, the reason why we were fighting is because she got a thing for Phil. She's like, a thing for Phil? She's like, yeah, when one person's face meets another person's face and lips, yeah, Charity got a thing for him. I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. He didn't lie for you, Charity. And I'm glad he did not lie for her. I'm so glad he didn't lie for him. So then we see Charity. She goes to Phil and asks Phil, like, why come you didn't tell me that Harmony and Hope, or Hope and Harmony, was buying all the land around the church? He says, I didn't know. She said, but you said you're Phil DeMars. He is Phil DeMars, but he don't know everything that the real, well, no, he's Phil DeMars. Bob, he's Bob, he's Bob. He doesn't know everything that Bob is doing. Bob is just using him as a lackey. Like, that's all Bob is doing. He just writes for Bob. He don't do nothing else for Bob. So he doesn't know. So then we do see Jacob. So he goes up to go to bed with Karissa. But Lil Winky is in the bed. And he's like, why is he in the bed? She said he had a nightmare. He says, okay, cool. I'm gonna go sleep in his bed tonight. She's like, really? She says, why? He says, because he gets to kicking and, I ain't gonna be able to sleep. No, he putting two and two together. Oh, he really has put two and two together. Because she lied about being with the realtor last week. I think Jacob is starting to put two and two together. When he could be, he could not be. Because Jacob is stupid. And then lastly, we see Lady May. So she's in her closet and, Bishop goes in there. And, he asked her, where were you? She says, I was at a meeting. She said, I know you had something planned. He says, which one of those kids told you? She says, no, none of them did. She says, you're just women's intuition. And she says, the answer is yes. And I'm like, aw, look at May and Bishop. They back together and gonna get married. But you guys, that was Greenleaf. If the video's all over the place, I do apologize. It's It's 12:30 here. I'm half sleepy. I'm kind of sleepy, but hopefully it was thorough enough. So be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and share the video. And I will see you guys later.